When performing the rapid whole blood plate test on a large number of chickens, like in this commercial hen house, it's extremely important to handle them properly so that none are harmed. To do that, the testing procedure should involve a minimum of 3 to 4 people, 1 or 2 to catch the birds, another to position and hold them, while the third draws their blood and tests it. But before beginning the procedure, it's crucial that everyone involved practice safe biosecurity techniques. This means wearing clean coveralls, headgear, and rubber boots. It's also important for each person to carefully scrub their boots with a disinfectant before entering the hen house. The first step in the rapid whole blood plate test is for a chicken to be properly positioned so that one of its wings can be extended and laid back. This uncovers the large blue vein underneath from where the blood sample is taken. Keep in mind that feathers may need to be plucked from this elbow area to expose the vein. Like the antigen, the test plate ideally needs to be somewhere between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, it ought to feel warm to the touch. If the hen house is cold, the light box under the test plate should provide the right amount of heat. With the dropper held straight up and down and close to the glass surface so the antigen doesn't splatter, normal-sized drops should be allowed to fall one at a time. Most test plates measure 10 by 14 inches. Unlike this plain one, many have a large number of squares printed or etched on them. This allows for up to 60 birds to be tested in a group, with 10 drops of antigen being applied in a row at one time. When doing this, though, it's important to make sure that the drops of antigen don't dry up on the plate before being mixed with blood. After the test plate is prepared, the bleeding needle should be held like a pencil to gently puncture the wing vein. Keep in mind that it needs to be sharp, so this can be done easily. To help make the procedure as simple as possible, a commonly used type of bleeding needle also has a blood loop attached. Its diameter is exactly what's needed to provide the proper amount of blood for testing. When the loop is full, without any gaps, the blood contained in it should be mixed with one of the drops of antigen. Although there are different kinds of blood loops, they all need to be made of 20-gauge wire, have a length of 2.5 inches, and measure 3/16 of an inch in diameter. The loop is used to combine the bird's blood with the antigen on the test plate. When doing this, it's necessary to mix the two together so they form a smear about the size of a quarter. After combining the sample of blood with the antigen, it's important to properly clean the needle and loop. This is done by rinsing the instrument in a container of fresh water and then wiping it on a clean cloth. With the blood and antigen mixed together, the test plate needs to be rotated for about 2 minutes so any reactions can be observed. Sometimes, after only 15 or 30 seconds, positive results will become evident. To see this, a good source of illumination is needed under the plate. That's provided by the light box. Again, here's what to look for. A positive reaction means that the tested bird may be carrying Pullorum Typhoid antibodies, and it should be considered as being a reactor. This determination can be made by looking for clumps that form after mixing its blood with the antigen. Remember, there are various degrees to which this agglutination takes place. If the results are negative, meaning that the tested bird doesn't have Pullorum typhoid disease, no clumping will be evident. But a true reaction shows a definite clumping or agglutination, along with the clearing of the blood and antigen mixture. Sometimes, though, dust on the test plate may look like a positive reaction. To tell the difference, remember that clumping caused by dirt takes place only in 1 or 2 spots. To help avoid possible dust, and to make sure that the smears don't dry up following a test, rinse the plate as soon as possible after the results have been determined. This is done simply by dipping it in a bucket of clean water and then wiping it dry with a squeegee and clean cloth. In the event of a positive test result, it's crucial that the reacting bird be banded to identify it as a possible carrier of Pullorum typhoid, and then immediately place it in a coop for additional testing or necropsy. A positive test result, however, doesn't always mean a bird is infected with Pullorum typhoid. Sometimes the reaction is caused by what's called cross-agglutination. That happens when other antibodies are present, ones that are produced by an antigen closely related to those of Pullorum typhoid. That's why it's important to either submit blood samples from reactors to a state animal health laboratory for further evaluation, or to take the reacting birds to the laboratory for bacteriological examination. If these tests determine that Pullorum typhoid antibodies are present, then the bird should be necropsied by the laboratory and examined bacteriologically for Pullorum typhoid. Isolation of the Pullorum typhoid organism determines a true positive reactor. To assist in locating sources of birds classified as produced U.S. Pullorum typhoid clean, the U.S. Department of Agriculture publishes directories listing NPIP participants. Their use helps to assure that diseased fowl won't be purchased and in turn infect healthy flocks. USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, APHIS, also provides important information about the National Poultry Improvement Plan. Copies of these publications are available through APHIS or by contacting your state NPIP representatives. Although NPIP's nationwide testing program has virtually wiped out Pullorum typhoid disease in commercial flocks and hatcheries, it's still a major problem in birds raised by some small breeders. Should the infection spread to large hatchery operations, it could cause literally millions of dollars in damage. But as backyard breeders become more aware of the consequences and increasingly participate in NPIP's testing program, this incurable disease affecting chickens, turkeys, and other fowl can be effectively controlled. Remember, preventing Pullorum typhoid is everyone's responsibility.